Hello, hello. How are you guys doing? Oh, yeah, BTVR. I'm going to start calling you. Can I call you BT? I always forget who you are in the Discord, though. So, going with BT seems to be suitable. BT. BT in the house. BT in chat. Shokri with the first as well. How you guys doing? Things good? It's Thursday, right? I know what day it is, right? It's Thursday. You guys like the critiques channel going live a little earlier? That Death Stranding BTs, dude. Liking my progress so far. Awesome. Yeah, we're gonna see it here in a minute, huh? A tall glass of coffee. I don't know what's come over me, but yes, I'm drinking a bit of coffee. Oh my gosh, it's hot. Oh no. Chug, chug, chug. Or is it chug, chug, chug? What's the rate at which you type the chug? Oh man, you guys are posting some cool stuff. Let's see here. I'm gonna click some of them open. You guys having a good day? Let's see if I can't, okay, if I just pin these and then let's, I'm gonna group some tabs. Ba-doom, ba-doom, ba-doom. I think this is gonna work out well, but it requires a little bit of setup time. That's okay. That's okay. Boodlestein, what is up? Irene, hello. Good to see you. Starbit Gobbler. Gobbler. Hello. Hello, Gobbler. That's Martin's post. Gotta rename that. There we go. Beta Razor, how you doing? It's good to see you. It is good to see you. Oh yeah, there's a lot of posts coming in. This is great. This is great. I'm just, I'm trying to organize it a bit, just so that when I look at these things, it's easier for me to not miss you, you know? I always feel bad when I accidentally skip you guys. Oh, J. Crew posting stuff too? Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. Okay. All right, you guys ready to do this? A little bit of a, I like this little slow moment before, you know, the calm before the storm, if you want to say it like that. Get a little moment to chat with you guys. I get some stuff prepped. Also, I'm going to make a calendar that we can call up with a command in the Discord and in Twitch chat. It'll be the same command. Coming soon. Basically, it'll call a calendar. Starbit was asking how we keep track of this. There's a calendar in what is it? In Twitch, but I mean, people aren't gonna go to Twitch just to look at the calendar, you know what I mean? So if there's a way to pull up a command for it, either a Notion calendar or something like that, Maybe I can tie it to how our portfolio review timings happen as well, so you can see it in the calendar also. As well as any other events, like the new like bi-monthly challenge or something like that. I think that'd be really cool. For anyone who's new here, welcome. I'm Dynasty, or Jeremy. Today we're doing stream critiques, and yeah, if you're not new here, well, I guess even if you are new here, there's a points system called the Empire Points program, and we have our leader Maru, Emperor Maru, our dog. If we get that goal in 21 days, we're gonna live stream me going to the pet store, and you're gonna help me pick out what we bring home for him. But cool. Okay, we should get into this because I anticipate there may be more people posting. If you want to post your work, you can go to the Discord here, and you can look for the channel Stream-Critique. Do people call you Din at work? That has happened. Yes, that's happened now. J-Star is another one that's occurred, because my last name roughly translate to like starry or star. Yeah, it's interesting. J-Money, no idea why that happens. Anywho, let's lower this music, because it's making it a little bit intense as to what we're talking about, and we're just gonna start looking at your guys' stuff. Because you got that bag. With that bag of the Skrilla? That bag? No. No, man. Sweden's taxes are too high. It's okay. The money goes to good places. Okay. We're going to start with Martin. Here we are. Here we are. Ooh, I think with the tab on the side here like this, maybe I can... Let me just like... duplicate my thingy here really fast. I'm going to duplicate my camera, and then I'm going to hide this one and then move this one down here. Right? Is that? No. Wrong one. There we go. Okay. I'm just going to go right here. Hello. There we go. Nice and hidden. A little tucked in Din over here. Cool. You guys can see everything okay? Everything's looking good. We've got Martin up first. Martin, this is looking real nice, man. I looked at it on my phone a little early and was pleasantly surprised by how far along this has come. And it's really started to unify in like the palette and the way that like things are reading. You know how like you can get this issue with stylized art next to other stylized art, and they're not unifying yet. There's something a little off. I think what I want to do is grab this and bring this into Photoshop. But that is looking mighty fine. Let me just drag this over here. Nice. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah. Welcome to the High Res Club. Let's go. Cool. Yeah, so I'm going to assume this is like a marble or some type of other material that's brought up that's different from this one. I think if you wanted to unify the scene further, I would try and bring these together with this one, or like find it in between. I think it's also okay that they're different, but just something to note. When it comes to the overall image, it's pretty. This is looking pretty strong. Things like the tree being as dark as it is feels a little strange to me. I like you've got a bit of a subtle noise going on, some nice depth of field. It's feeling a little airy, in the bit of texture going on. The air's thick, some atmosphere. I still feel like this tower is really like kind of not. It's not presenting itself fully, if you know what I mean. Like, because of if we invert this and go grayscale, you can see it's pretty hidden back there. I wonder if I can. It looks like I can. Oh, that's so cool. So I made it so when I press Control Y, it switches to S gray. I already forgot how I did that, but I think it's the proof setup. Yeah, proof setup. And I went with a custom and choose like a setting that I want, right? And S gray was the setting I did. So whenever you press Control Y, it switches to the setting. So it's a nice quick way to like check your grayscale without actually grayscaling your image permanently. So you can look at your current values. So if we press Control Y, and then we go in and we actually, I think I'll just like horribly mask this all out with my mouse because I'm, lazy. Let's do something like this. Getting these details to pop out is going to push the quality overall. Oh no. So this is why I'm taking the time to like just kind of highlight some of this. So like if we put some levels on it, so you bring that up. I think it's fine with the grays where they're at. I'm going to bring it up all the way, and then we'll just I'll mask it and then paint it back, where we want it. So if you were to imagine like these are popping out this much more, right? We get this to pop out as much as it is, and this type of detail here. I think this might actually be better than masking. So getting that to pop out, see, now you're seeing it. And if I press Control Y, look at that. Look at the difference. And it doesn't have to be that much, right? We could tone it down. But getting it to present itself, like you have to remember, like the lighting is coming from, where are we at here? The lighting's coming from over here, right? It's coming from this direction. It's heading this way. So it's like it's illuminating all this. So it would make sense that at least it's illuminating some of this here. Maybe even like, I don't know, the building right here behind it is also a little bit lighter. So something to note. Again, look at that difference. It really like pops. It's kind of how I feel basically making a texture brighter, adding point lights in the area. I bet if you go into like albedo only or like unlit, the value of the color here is very similar to the value of this. So you could either bring it up or you could place a box light to kind of emphasize that area. Maybe turn the GI off of that box light and just kind of use it to boost it up a little bit. There's a number of things you could do. Overall, though, the scene is looking really, really nice. I want to see what ranges we're working with here, because I also feel like maybe your foreground. See, like this is too bright, of course, but maybe your foreground could be pushed up just a bit. Like these areas here, like. Let me see if because I do like that it becomes dark here, so maybe it's not that much. But see, now I can see the type of material we're looking at here. It's just, yeah, overall it's just really strange how dark it is right here. And then we just take this layer and you kind of push it down, because you want to see some of the color there, right? And it's very strange how dark this gets versus like what's back here. But yeah, super nice piece. It's really coming together. I feel like maybe the clouds are coming off a bit thick. But yeah. Spotlights are great for that sort of thing. Yeah, see, and I feel like a box light might be even better. Just because it's such a wide, like soft, that's like what you would use in film, right? It's like a big box light. But yeah, if we look at the reference here, the reference is very red. And even like you can see in the concept, the color of the rock is quite similar. I actually imagine like if these rocks were getting direct light, they would look like this color. That's kind of the the intention or the feeling I'm getting from that. I could be very wrong. This is interesting. It's like a little island here versus it going all the way to the edge of the frame. Like this is more of like a little floating piece down here. But I like what you're doing with the framing. I think if this area was dark as well, maybe it would. Let's see. Let's back to the Photoshop here. Let's try and see if we can like, I don't know, do something really fast here. There's just something there. I think it could like really help with the framing. Maybe more of the tree stuff going on up here. Let me just blast this out so we can just use the. You can tell I've been watching a lot of concept videos recently. Learning some tricks. Yeah, by doing that, you start to frame it around the shot that's like centered up right here, right? So you're just like, it's like you're hugging the area you're looking at. But very cool. Very, very cool. This is really coming a long way, and I feel like it's very close actually to being done. Okay. Shall we hop on to the next one? I think it's Pandu. That was so helpful. Thank you very much. Oh, no problem. I hope the really nice thing about these feedback sessions is I think everyone can learn a little bit from them. Hey, thank you for the resub, Ollie. 13 months now. I forgot the announcement. Oh my God, you're right. I never hit enter. Well, there you go. There we go. It's announced now. I was so caught up in our conversation, I never hit the enter button. Oh, Starbit, like spot on. Yeah, everything's pointing. Zonk trying to get the Mario a toy, man. So I look at this piece, and this one's looking mighty fine. Is there? Let's see if there's any. I've been picking up this project again recently and wanted to get some input on composition and overall thoughts. It's still a work in progress, and I already have a couple more ideas of props to add. But if you have any ideas on what else I could add, let me know. Appreciate it already. Okay. Yeah, so right off the bat, I really like the colors that you're playing with. The colors here are real nice. Let's get it into the Photoshops. Dude, you guys in your high-res images, it's crazy. So let's do grayscale again. It's interesting how like vibrant it can be, and yet so like even. So there's a nice balance in your value between all of your materials. Like if we look at like all of the wood materials seem to be the same wood, or if it's a different wood material, you've kind of matched their values. Maybe the table here is a little dark in the, let me see if I'm not sure what type of material the legs are, so that might be something to, it feels a little bit like a bug with how dark the pixels are. But this already looks very good, in my opinion. There's a few crayons here. I'm not sure. I feel like it's a portion of a story that we're not seeing. You know what I mean? So there's some crayons, but like I feel like a nice little telling a story without people is always kind of intriguing. Like, can you imagine if you, let's see if we can do it. Let's see if this is even going to work. Oh my God, man, it's getting better. It's getting better. But there's still some issues, of course. Let's dupe that out real quick. I'm just gonna, maybe I can do like a selection, like a magic wand selection on this. Contiguous, yeah. Little okay. The thing I want to look at is like, imagine you were able to, actually, hang on here. Okay, there we go. There we go. That's what I was expecting. Imagine being able to put a carpet under here. Because I think what would be really interesting is a muted carpet. Prop-wise to add. You've got a lot of like straight angles. A lot of angles going on. So if the carpet was maybe round. Oh man, come on. Maybe it was something like this. You know, I'm not going to try and make this perfect or anything, but my brain's fighting me right now. It's telling me to do it. You know how that goes. So let's see here. Let's imagine that we've got a rug here. The rug doesn't need to be, it's really nice because it grounds it, but it also adjusts your framing. So we can look at like where the composition is. So if like both of these move, and now it's here, and then you get this this color here. Let's just eyeball this. So let's say that this is like where we're at. So let's say there's a rug here, and I was highlighting the crayons earlier. I was talking about the crayons and how they felt kind of funny there. Like they're just there's not enough story happening given like what we're seeing. Taking those crayons and adding them to this lower area and like a coloring book tells a story of what's happening here. Someone sits here, maybe they have their little coffee cup, right? And then you have the coloring book and all the crayons laid out. You can tell where the kid lays down, where the kid is, you know, just scribbling away. And where the parent, the mom or dad, or, you know, is sitting here drinking their coffee, and they put their coffee down. Maybe someone said food was ready and they got up, they went to the kitchen. And what this spot looks like right then and there, this is like the perfect area for telling that type of story. Because that's the thing I feel like I'm missing. I'm missing a story. And you're hinting at it. Like maybe the coloring book is like right here. Let's see. So let's pretend this is my mouse drawing skill, so don't mind me. And then we got all the crayons, you know, little crayon box open. You know, the big box with the tops opened up, some crayons here. And you can tell, like, just based off of like how stuff was laid out, the kid was right here. You know, it's this little intimate moment that is missing the people because they went somewhere. But it speaks volumes to you just through the way it's propped. You can also see what this does as a composition is it breaks you away from, you've got an object here, pretty large object here, large object, and then you've got like, you can see it's all volume and it's all together and it's all here. Now, having the carpet here, but having it low contrast, so very similar to the ground, not really pushing colors on it, allows for it to still be an area for rest on your eyes, but also shifts you away from, let me see if I can illustrate this. It shifts you away from this being the focus, like the center of the shot, and the shot becomes more like this. It becomes a bit larger, a little bit more breathing room, and because of the contrast being so low of the rug, now all the little props and stuff down here can have all the color that you would want from the crayons that you had in your previous image here. Like getting these details, ooh. That type of color down here, it brings this like life, which is, man, if you want to get like metaphorical or like really pushing it, it's like this simplified world of adults being disrupted by the new life and color of children. Perfect. I think this would be really cool with that type of detail. So that's what I would add. Overall, I think the assets look really good. And man, this material's sick. That's really nice. There's a bit of an edge on there. Is that just like a stylized... oh, is it cork base there too? Oh, wow. Yeah, this is cool. I don't have much to add, honestly. I'd be curious to see your roughness as well. A coffee stain on the carpet is a cool idea. If you need a little bit of breakup. What I feel like is you're already kind of doing it with the little like imperfections that you've put on the ground naturally. But I honestly, I don't think I would change anything here. I would look at your contrast values when it comes to like the darker areas, maybe lighten those little darker areas up just a bit. So if we delete all of this information and we just go to the original image, we bring this, let's just bring this down here. And then we take this and we look at the levels on it. I imagine those shadows get quite dark. Could be wrong. Just like from my eye, they feel a bit dark. Where are we at here? Level check. There we go. Yeah. So you can see these shadows get extremely dark. And if we do like, if we try and level that out, let me just grab the whole thing and just try and push it over. There's no way for me to get information in these pixels. Those dark areas should go away pretty quickly, and it's kind of why I gravitated towards these legs as well, is because they end up being distracting because they're so dark. I think that's the only thing. Like if you weren't to add anything, that's what I would fix. That's what I would adjust, is make sure those dark areas are not so dark, because it feels, this is the artificial look you get. Those should be maybe half the darkness they are right now. Maybe 2/3 of the darkness they are. Maybe a bit of stress in the fabric here to show that people continue to sit on this. Little bit of a dip. Maybe a sculpted curve or two. And that can be done in Painter as well, because I'm talking real subtle. So, but yeah, super nice. I don't have anything else to add to this. Look at your roughness, maybe. I think is the other. There's a lot of noise in the surfaces of the leaves, so maybe. Or Photoshop. I mean, that's a detail I would add in the actual model. But really cool piece. Yeah, it's very nice. Oh, one thing you could add. Just we're going to comment on it. Think about the age of the leaves and change their color based on that. Just subtle adjustments. More saturated or more like lighter if it's a new leaf. And it's just kind of unfolded, it's going to be a bit lighter. The older leaves are going to be pretty rich, maybe a little brown on the edges. That, just thinking about the life of a plant. Super cool. Hopefully that was helpful. Shokri. Let's check out this this little stove here. Really, hey, no problem, Pandu. Really nice. Okay, so made the hiking burner dash stove. I think I'm about 80% done, and I made 2 types of cookware, because why not? All right, let's take a look here. Just gonna hop through here. Dang, look at that. Nice, delicious. Look at the reflections too. So there's some details that are a little strong here. I don't think you need to add too much normal map information when it comes to the really like crunchy stuff. It's more about the larger shapes and having them kind of melt into the liquid, right? Think about the roughness of the liquid versus the larger shapes as well. And that's one of the reasons I think softening this type of information up in the normal map is going to help a lot. The other thing I would do, because I wouldn't suggest really tessellating this, I would go into the model, the mesh for this plane, and just add some geometry and lift up the edges just so that you get a little bit of edge information along this. So that like maybe where like a onion or like a potato is right on the edge, that it's just a little bit more lifted. That'll instantly sell the look a little bit further. And also meniscus. Remember that like when you're making soup and stuff or like a broth or a beef stew, you're going to get this like oil edge around the wherever it was, because it kind of it melts down, you know. Oh, you're talking about I see what you're talking about, Poodlestein. You're talking about the water tension on the edge where it meets the container. It kind of curves up a bit. I'm actually talking about the objects in the soup causing a slight change in the edge. But anything to help connect it to the side would do a lot. If you didn't model any of this detail in, what I would then ask is like you talk about, the meniscus, that edge of the liquid kind of peeking up. Poodlestein's got a link for you that'll help with that a lot. This looks pretty cool. It's so the material pass on it is it feels very first pass to me. Like at least for this pot, like the edge damage down here feels like I can't really tell the scale of the object. I think maybe you're looking at references really closely, so that's going to help immensely, right? But understanding how this type of rubber or plastic wears and like what this edge looks like here right now looks very sharp. I think just softening that so it's not distracting you would help. And when we look at the other images, like this looks awesome already. This looks great. Oh, look at the writing on there. That's so cool. Do you know why they do this? They're mostly clean. I tried to find dirty stuff, but can't find it. I get you. Yeah, this type of surface is usually pretty pristine. There'll be some like subtle scratches and whatnot, but ooh, look at the discoloring you got going here from the heat. That's great. Ollie's gonna beat one up for you. Over the summer, he'll get you some pictures. But yeah, anything to me, this feels pretty good. It needs, there's a layer of imperfection that needs to happen on top of it. It's kind of like I've been doing a lot of Warhammer painting lately, and like one of the things that I've noticed is like, it's kind of like you put all your base colors in, and then when you do these dirty washes where like stuff kind of builds up in the crevices, kind of like the dirt pass, that really sells. Like instantly everything starts to come together. And it's the same in 3D. One thing I'll say about this looks extremely unstable. Like I'd be so scared to cook my stuff on, like, I don't know what the size of this is. Oh, I love how these fold back. That's great. This okay, this isn't too big. This looks awesome. Do a physical versus digital painting talk sometime. 1 liter and 2 liter cup. Yeah, a talk on physical versus digital painting would be quite interesting. Before the Warhammer stuff, I used to oil paint before I got into 3D. So, but it's been so long, man, I'm like a complete noob again. It's fun though. It's very fun. So, Shokri, I think the aging that you've been focusing on with your metals, I would really push that into the rest of this, into the burner itself. And I think at that point, like we're looking at like this looking pretty done, honestly. Like some of the details that are happening here, I don't know, based on your reference, I feel like the scale of these splotches that you kind of pick up on with your, if you squint, you're to see these like splotches. I feel like those are supposed to be larger and fewer. Because to me, because they're so much smaller, it kind of feels like I'm seeing like a tileable pattern happening that I don't know what it is yet. But something feels off about it. Hopefully that makes sense. But this is looking cool, man. Also, I would see, like, I get some reference, look closer at this kind of work going on in here. And, like, is this all metal? I assume maybe it's even really reflective. Hello, everyone. It's been a while. Miss Visiting is. Hey, welcome back. Good to see you. Yeah, it's too rough. Yeah, it's metal. I think that's what's going on. Is it's just too rough. Really, like, lock into the detail. If you need to, I think a really good way to be looking at these types of materials when you're texturing it is to get a reflective environment that is very akin to like being in the forest. Because usually I would imagine a lot of references are going to be either in a garage or a shed or whatever, or like out in the woods, right? Out in wilderness. So you'll get all the environment reflecting on the surfaces in a very similar way. And that'll really help you tune the types of materials you're seeing. Because like for me, maybe the albedo seems a little dark here. Metal albedos tend to be quite high in value, actually. So something to keep in mind. But this is looking really cool. All right, Irene, let's go. Let's see what's going on here. Man, that food. Dude, when you look at the thumbnail in the Discord, Shokri, it looks pretty tasty, man. All right, so what do you think of this material? Irene asks, and a little question: why I have this weird things circled in red? Here's the height map. If this helps, if this can be helpful, what are better ways to present an ArtStation? I mean, a sphere, plane, whatnot. So spheres are pretty standard, right? So let's kind of go through what we're looking at here. So here's the material, right? Right off of the bat, I would say that the green that's here is extremely saturated. Likely, if you're going off a photo or for reference or whatnot, Fatal, how you doing? You answered the question about the displacement? Oh, nice, man. You're the best. I'll explain it. I'll explain it anyways, just to kind of really like push it so everyone can understand as well. But yeah, these greens feel really saturated, and I bet it has to do with the way that the images are edited that you have seen in references. Or it was a really bright day and the materials are just blasting a little bit of light back out, in with their transmissive attributes. This is very dark here, and that maybe the saturation of the rocks is a little on the blue side. Like if we had to, let me see if I can just like copy this and paste that in here. Wait, what? Ah, there we go. Cool. So like if we were to look at this image, even just pushing that's not the right layer, pushing the saturation down starts to get you into that range with the stone. And maybe even like if you were to filter and do like a camera raw filter and push the temperature up. See, now you're getting Now you're getting some variety in the stone that we weren't seeing before. See, now we're getting some separation between these types of stone. Some purples even happening in there, which is kind of cool. Then if we look at the green, let's go Control U again. We go to the greens, and we push the saturation of the greens down. And it looks like even like the yellow is a bit. There we go. You start to remove that artificial stuff that's happening. And of course, this all depends on how stylized you're going for, right? But even in a stylized scenario, I would be very careful on like how much noise you're adding to the surfaces. Like you could do this in the normal, but then I would suggest that you create a texture that, or a mask that separates the stones from the kind of mossy material, and try and get like a Fresnel that fills or like trying to fake that subsurface look. Getting a Fresnel on a mask for the moss will really help separate the moss and kind of soften its visual as well. When you have that. Horizon Zero Dawn has similar grass noise if you want to check that out. That's a good shout. Yeah, their moss and grass is crazy. So there's that, and if you like look at them in comparison, so it's probably quite interesting. But yeah, so there's that aspect. Hey, thank you for the sub. How's it going? Welcome to the stream. When we look at the other stuff you were talking about, the stretching here, so a lot of people understand what's causing that, or at least it was explained by Ollie. Did you explain it in the chat here, Ollie? Oh yeah, you did. Okay, so you get artifacts because the contrast in the height map is too big. To avoid this, you can apply a small blur to the height map before the output, but leave the normal map sharp. This helps a lot with the displacement. Right, so the normal map will maintain the detail that you got, but the basically the blurring causes like if we go in, let's copy this, and we'll go into Photoshop, and I'll paste this in here. So what you're seeing is if you go from here, like you're already doing a little bit of a gradient, which is really nice. So if we make a layer here, so this is the color, and then it drops to this, right? And if we look at those next to each other, the value difference is such a harsh transition that it's like, if you were to think about it in side view, it's like you're up here, and then all of a sudden you go down here. And going down so quickly is why you're getting the stretching, right? And you can even see it in the pixels. So when you blur it, what you're actually doing is averaging out, you're softening this transition so that it's not so extreme. And if you keep the normal sharp before the blur, the vectors will be corrected so that these will all point the way they're supposed to. And it'll just look better on the geometric side, and then the normals will help fill in the rest. So yeah, you basically just want to try and find like a way to blur between the two. Like that already helps a lot. But yeah. Oh man, look at all these people trying to get Maru a toy. I love it. If you make the dark lighter at the edge instead of only beveling the stone, yeah, that'll do it as well. Like you can get a mask for where the stones are at, and then add that mask to the stuff that's happening in between the stones, and then blur that in, and what you'll do is you'll get a, how do we explain this? RGB, yeah, there we go. Say this is your stone, and then your stone goes down, and then you've got your ground. So if you take the height map of your stone, so first you're softening this, so that transition's smoother. And then if you take the ground and you transition the ground up the stone a little bit, you will naturally do the same thing, but now the stone's not carrying as much of the weight when it comes to that transition. But yeah, I think overall though, this looks really cool. Maybe the stones are a little too undulated. Maybe it's just the fact that it's displaced so much. But it looks cool though. And I think if you were to do some adjustments to your saturation, that'll do a lot very quickly. Cool. Let's check out David's. Dude, this is looking. Ollie thinks also that you should do. Ollie thinks you should do a render of it on a plane with some branch shadows on it in addition to the sphere. Yeah, I think when it comes to presentation, if we go back to this real quick, when it comes to presentation, a sphere is really nice, and it shows like the displacement and like how it reacts to lighting as it wraps around. I really like to see materials in context, and I know that asks a bit of work from material artists. But I mean, at this point in time, we now have things like Megascans, right? Just putting your material on an object, displacing it, and then using Megascan props to like kind of give it the context and the scale will go a long ways for really showing your material off. Your portfolio will always be better for that, showing that type of stuff. Daniel, I don't think I need your help, man. First time chatter, dude. But I appreciate your struggle. I don't know. Oh man, I want to like. How do I? Let's see here. We can. Can I? Where's that button? We can do that. There we go. Get a nice little block in there, and then there's another button. I could reply to the message. I don't want to reply to the message. I feel like a boomer trying to use chat right now. I'm like, why can't I? I was just seeing the. Is it because I blocked him I can't remove this thing? I don't know. Anyways, it's all good. No one do anything that would help that post. Din's wheeling in the TV strapped onto a cart for class, but having trouble with the VHS. I don't see anywhere to blow air into this VHS. It's difficult, man. I'm gonna hop into David's here in a second. I just want to see what you said in chat. Akanazi, do you think creating 3D props out of concept art is a good idea to learn? Depends what you're learning. Because like for me, I don't think so. If you're trying to replicate content, like the best thing to replicate anything is to look at real objects, create those. Once you can make those, like going stylized is even crazier, and you have all the modeling skills and the understanding. When you go from concepts, a lot of the times you'll notice like, oh, why is the perspective all wrong? Or like, not every concept artist is going to approach perspective the same way. And a lot of the times perspective will be one way in one spot and then another way in another area. And it's just like, it's difficult. But creating a scene from a concept, that's different as well. So it's all dependent on what you're trying to learn. If you're trying to create props correctly and get good at those, I would suggest really nice imagery of actual content, like actual props. So David, sir. David. Hey, Jeremy, thanks for taking the time. I included the concept art as well for comparison. I did not click on that. Let's get in there. Let's just drag that in here. Man, I'm gonna be honest. You're getting real close to that. You're getting real close. Let's see here. I'm gonna bring the concept in. I'm gonna bring yours in. Yeah, this scene's looking crazy good. Oh man, and you're in the high res club, I see. Let's oops. Let's grab this. Man, you've really captured. That's kind of scary. So your FOV is very high still. I think if you were to lower it, or no, actually, your FOV is lower than the concept. So like if you look at, we bring the concept here. So we've got this curve here, right? Oop, look at that helmet. Did you see that helmet? It's for our emotes. You do this. So this curve, if you look at it in yours, it's not as extreme. And I don't know if like how close you want to match it. But yeah, that's a thing. I honestly think it'll do a lot for getting your scene to pop a bit more in the shapes that are present. Like this is coming towards you, you know, in its depth. And as you push that FOV, this will come a bit closer to you, while other elements will push further back. The other thing it does for you is the scale. So like if we look at the size of your books and the color of the books, maybe even, it's like right now your books aren't really popping the colors that you see in your reference. I'm not sure how much you want to be pushing that, but you can also see how the dark areas are. Like how much areas that are dark. Like this is dark over here. But then if you look at yours, see how dark that gets. It's very, very dark. I would maybe boost your ambient and just see if that helps. I don't know. Is this in Lumen? Man, I love the details going on here. Yeah, it has an arcane feel to it for sure. Very nice. The other thing I would say, this is maybe more of a personal preference. This table here, it's like such a big contribution to the image, or it's taking up such a large part of the image, and I know it is here as well. I guess the goal is to get this right. This is making you look this way. This is all making you look this way. All the lighting is here. This is like blurring and covering up any of the floor, forcing you to look this way as well. All of these lines are making you look this way. These lines draw you here. So from like a compositional standpoint, everything is pointing you here. I mean, look at the light coming in through the window. It's all kind of doing this. Do you see that? Even down here, this is helping like build a frame. Like you have a light edge here and this edge here. It's basically framing this. Do you see it? So everything is like drawing you there. I think the way you're setting everything up, it's kind of doing the same thing. So now that I've drawn over all of that detail and showed how they're using lighting, perspective, and the shapes and positioning of stuff to draw you towards this location, now you can look at your scene with the same kind of doodle on top and see if it's where it might be failing in that like concept of like framing, right? And I think it might have to do with, You can see how dark it gets up here. So if you were to, let's see if we can, if you were to start bringing in some of that darkness, this is maybe like later stages of your scene, but getting that type of information in, you can see now by doing this, I'm pushing your shadows to be lighter. Let's see what else is going on here. This area is actually doing not doing too much when it comes to the adjustments of those details. So the banners in here are also straight. I feel like yours being wrinkled like they are feels a little artificial, or it makes it feel like it's supposed to be windy in there, and I don't think it is. There's a bit more depth going on in here, and I think you can in this clock situation we got going on here. But I think a lot of that will just have to do with the amount of roughness, micro information you feel like adding. There's also like shadows being casted from this in the concept, which are helping pop it off of the wall. So it's just some details to get it to happen a bit more. Like with yours, I would cut more holes or create more, like you've got this main disc here. I would make that main disc 4 pieces or something like that and get those to separate from each other a little bit as well. And just bring the whole like construction a little further out. Because like if you look, yours just feels a little flatter, if that makes sense. It kind of looks like what you've done so far is got the base colors on there. And now you need to like push the roughness, push the surfaces being either like a sharp edge or like having like right now it feels extremely rounded, right? And a lot of these details, the way the light is hitting this, it's all the highlights are happening here. Versus yours, it seems like the highlights are happening more over on this side. But I mean, this is all just like any of the smaller things that I can pick up on, because in general, this is looking freaking amazing. I still find this table so strange that it's like that. You can see how blurred out it is and how like low in contrast everything is on it. Like what ranges they're in. Like if we go back and forth, you can see how dark the table is. You can see how dark the books are. So it's kind of in a unified way, staying very subdued. So keep that in mind when you're working on that aspect of it. The other thing I guess I would highlight is the foliage. That's, to me, I think your foliage is probably the weakest part of this scene right now. And it's just the matter of like how much time has been put into it. I don't know if you'd built these or not, but really locking in the scale of the leaves, getting those smaller, and just don't even worry about the poly count of these. Make them look how you want them to look. Don't try and be optimal with them. You can to some degree, but like if we're able to see these edges, you know, then these are getting, you're seeing the geometry of it in a sense, right? So that type of information is going to be really important. And there's a lot of different types of metals back here, actually, on this contraption. So pulling that information, getting those details in there. It looks like it's just a few extra rings and maybe some like variations in the roughness of like different rings of the telescope itself. There's a lot of like depth that's happening inside of there as well. So it's more about the roughness and like the extra little layers of detail with the geometry that'll take this further. I think a very simple, basic, like average nooks and crannies pass in the roughness through like Substance Painter will go a really long ways for this, and you probably don't need to go any further than that. But yeah, man, super cool. I'm looking forward to seeing this all kicking. Yeah, just pay attention where all your highlights are at and how things are being perceived and the thickness of things. Because like scale wise, like because these are so thick compared to these, it ends up feeling larger or closer to you. Whereas like because they're thin in this one, they feel further away. They feel like smaller details and whatnot. But man, it's slapping, dude. This is looking dope. Super nice. I think I went really micro into there, but hopefully that was helpful to you. Let me Poodlestein, before we jump into yours, let me just make sure I grab the others here. Let's do this. I think there's maybe an ArtStation post as well. Nice. Okay. We'll take all these and I'll just new tab, Lodo, and we got Nicholas. Boom, boom. Let's take these. Nice. All right. Oh, this is already quite intriguing. What's going on here? Poodlestein, working on brushed concrete material for the Blade Runner scene. Oh, yes, and find it difficult to match it and find the right balance of detail, frequency for the concrete. It will. I definitely want to sharpen the grout, ? Lines in a bit. They feel too soft. I can send a higher res version for the reference. Didn't want to spam here. Yeah. Let's look at a higher res reference. If you can toss one that way, I think you can edit your post and just add an image. But yeah, I can see what's going on already. And the reason, like, for anyone who's not familiar with this type of surface, what's happening is a scaffolding was built, made of wood, and then once that's all put into place, you just like dump concrete in, and when it's hardened, then you remove the wood panels and you're left with the mold. Yeah, you can DM it to me. That's fine. And you're left with a mold, right? The reason these lines show up is the concrete gets between the gaps of the wood scaffolding and hardens there. The other thing that you'll commonly see with this type of surface is if you look close enough, you'll see the wood grain in the concrete. It'll be subtle, but it's there. And usually like a really good job of something like this, they'll sand it down so it's a nice smooth surface. But a lot of people tend to like these changes or these imperfections in the surface. So yeah, what I was going to say about this actually is it feels very large. Like I would go very small with this type of information, very thin, just because they're quite tiny. Like it's to the point where I would say you might get a better end result or quality if you actually make a detail normal. Discord doesn't like it. Hey, if you post it in the stream critique channel, it might post because we have a higher, what is it? We can do up to 100 megabyte upload. So it can be in the chat. It's fine. But yeah, I would actually suggest making this kind of grout surface and maybe even the wood pattern and tile it like a detail normal, because then you can get the really fine detail. You get a higher res look. Wasn't wood really expensive in Blade Runner? Yes, it was. But then you have the ability to actually have not only the texture of the concrete in the concrete material, but then the detail normal being the grout lines grout lines, the imperfection lines and the wood grain lines when you get real close, that could look good. Yeah, this is pretty extreme. And you can see how much shadow it's casting as well. Very, very high off of the surface. Maybe like, I don't know what that's like. I can't do centimeters when I, like, what is this? What is this? Yeah, it's wood grain because of how these walls are made. If that's 1 centimeter, it's probably half a centimeter, maybe 1 centimeter off of the wall. And then the wood grain is going to go in and out on the surface. Like I can do it, like an inch I can do. But I can't do, I guess I can now. That's a centimeter. But yeah, super, super interesting material. When I look at the reference, it's really about the lighting. Yeah, see, I think that could be done with a detail normal. Separate that out because you'll get a little bit more control. And you'll be able to have a strength control on it as well. And it looks like the wall is also painted white. So for me, it's more about matching the lighting, which is a bit more of a yellow. And yours is quite a bit more warm. Like if we copy this image, whenever it, there we go. We just put this in here. And then we go back to your reference. We copy this. We paste, no, not there. No, come on, brain. Taking this image. We grab this one, and then we go in and if you press Control U and we pull out some of the reds, you see it starts to get a bit more, it's still warm, but now we can push the yellow up. Maybe even the red needs to go down a bit further. It's very yellow. And then, what is it? Is it maybe the blues that are affecting no, there's no blues in there. Okay. Greens? No. But it's a sad medium so far. This film is a bit inconsistent between shots, so I'm trying to go for a happy medium. Oh, okay. I probably wouldn't go for too red. I'd maybe go a little bit more neutral, maybe more yellow. But it's looking cool. Again, I think it's a scale thing. Definitely like locking that in. Trying to think if there's anything. Otherwise, like these wavy lines, I wouldn't have those in the original concrete, and in the detail normal of these like imperfections, add the wood grain into that. Greens in the shadows, that could be interesting. Yeah, you could try that out for sure. But cool. Hopefully that helps you, Poodlestein. It's mainly just like a micro detail. It actually looks like it's painted white as well. Like just like poured concrete in a wood lattice removed, white paint on top. Very, very simple construction. What is this? Oh yeah, okay, cool. Nice. Okay. J. Crew. Let's go. I do a lot more color grading later because I have some shots that are from the regular copy and some of the HDR remaster, and they differ quite a lot color-wise. Oh, I bet. Older footage is also going to be very strange, a strange look. I just noticed that my mic is in the shot. Nice. Okay. Yeah, it's really, really nice stuff, though. So, J. Crew. Where are we at here? Hello. Hello, mate. So, this is a fantasy coffee machine. Any advice on anything you see that would make it feel more more like a game ready hero prop. So feel and game ready are very different different things, right? So when we look at like what makes something game ready, it's all a perspective of like how it's like what the geometry, like what's the poly count, right? What's the textures, how many different shaders are on it. If it's a hero asset, the shader count could go a bit higher. Hero assets basically just get rule exceptions based off of the rest of the content from a tech art perspective to some degree. They get a little extra love when it comes to what they're allowed to do. Side note, I didn't post all the baked maps because I have so many texture sets, didn't want the viewer to be fatigued by scrolling through them all. So yeah, you have an ArtStation post as well. So right off the bat, I think this is really cool. It looks interesting. The little dragons are really nice. Poly count looks pretty good as well. It feels maybe a little... Maybe there's too many here. I can't tell though. But poly count wise, if these are the details you want us to be seeing, you know, like the gear here with the little mouse running in it and each of these pieces sticking out, you have to pay for that geometry if you want to have that detail, right? If we look at the post here, oh dude, it's even animated. Yo. Oh, that's so sick in the middle there. Man, I'm gonna take a drink of my coffee. Oh, this is really cool. Really, really cool. I think the presentation, like seeing it from different angles, isn't really needed. I think seeing this next to itself with a wireframe and no wireframe would be enough. Like you probably don't need this image and this image. This one's nice. When it comes to how this gear is set up, it feels strange to me that there's little cuts here. It might be like that in the concept though. I'm not sure. What is going on here? Coffee materials made in UE5. I don't understand why this is here. This is dope though. I think having it in the wooden cup will display this better. Oh no, oh no. The little X, that's high res, ma'am. The second one, if the drip part is the drip part of the coffee. What? Oh, this. Ah. See, I think that's where we need the context. Definitely. Like you want to see that here. And maybe the cups and just like really focused in on it. But honestly, I don't think I would care to see this one. Seeing this one and maybe like an overlay of the network that you built to make it look this way, just kind of overlaid inside of the background would be really cool. These are really nice. I don't think you need wires on top of these in order to show us what's going on. Or if you do, I think the wires should be really low in opacity. There's a bit of, when I look at your UVs, I think the only thing that really sticks out to me, other than the wireframes being a little strong, is the amount of space that's not being utilized. Not wasting space is going to be really important. And watching out for like the buffer on the edges here, like there's definitely something going on in the way you've overlaid this. So I'm seeing it maybe a little incorrectly because that wireframe totally goes outside of the 0 to 1 space. So I'm not sure if like how that would work out. You know what I mean? And with these, you might have been able to overlay these on top of each other, which would allow you to have this be really high res. Maybe even a trim sheet for these guys up here. And then these ones could be turned into like 2, maybe. And the UVs are just stacked on top of each other. You can also crop image to not be 16 by 9. You don't need to spread things out like that. Oh, you mean like this? Yeah. Yeah, presentation wise, if you bring this up here, that would be helpful for sure. Oh, wow. Man, you're really going in like the custom painting route. So this is really cool, but again, I feel like right now your UVs are not fully utilizing what they could for the UV space. If this was painted in Substance Painter as well, not directly on the in the 2D view, if everything was painted in the 3D view, you can actually repack your UVs, and when you bring it back in, it should just update and redo every stroke that you did. But the end result is really nice. I'm curious how many. So if we're talking hero prop, the things I would be thinking about with hero props is you've got glass, you've got metals, 2 characters, and wood, like wood materials, right? So what I would want to know is how many shaders are there? Oh yeah, and the liquid, right? So how many shaders are there? What's alpha test? What's forward rendered? What's deferred? And then what are the resolution of the textures? So doing those breakdowns, like maybe the 2 dragons are using the same texture set, right? Maybe instead of, if you wanted to think about it from a game ready standpoint, depending on, it really depends on how you're utilizing it. It really, really depends on how you're utilizing it. Like, is it a prop that you always see up close? Or is it something that's always kind of like, because if it's a third person game and it's just on the table and you go and you interact and the dragons are just sitting there flapping their wings, then you could do one texture for the dragon and build it in the shader that you can change the color of the dragon, and you can make the blue one just instancing the same textures, right? A lot of this, if it was like that, a lot of this would be trim sheets, I think. If it's first person or like the camera gets really in close, then you're gonna want to see like, okay, how is this built? How is it put together? So like all of these modeled out is great. To me, this looks like it's more of a third person game that when you interact, the camera gets close and then you see it up close. After I did all the hand painting, oh man. Yeah, so as long as you're doing hand painting in Substance Painter in the 3D viewport, it will replicate all of those strokes. So you could update your UVs later. It's pretty nice. Overall, really cool. It's just the little highlights that I would say on UVs, the way you're texturing, and really like breaking down what was made where, and like how like what's happening in the background cost wise. That's what I would be curious about if we're talking hero props and the such. That's sick though. I really like this. I love it. It's got such character to it. It's quite unified. Maybe the last thing I would mention maybe is the wooden cup. Feels like you did the lines for knowing where the wood pieces were going to be, but you didn't go in and do the shading to add like that layer of detail to really like pop the understanding of the wood pieces. Either way, really nice piece. I'm looking forward to some more, actually. I think this would really nice to see this stuff. Yes. Let's continue on. Lodo, you just subbed as well, by the way. Thank you again. So you worked on a small scene in your spare time in UE4. Would love to hear feedback on composition, lighting, and anything that could improve right away. Yeah, so you're looking for like quick wins, if you want to say it like that. Man, look at that Doom. So there's a lot going on in that Doom screen. Oh my gosh, Carmageddon too. Hey, J. Crew, no problem. Oh, and the resub as well. Oh my gosh. Stop it. Thank you. So there's a lot going on. Man, Space Jam. That was good stuff. There's a lot going on in this post. I have no idea what is happening with the screen here. There's a weird... This feels weird to me. Anik, how you doing? Good evening. Hope you're doing well. Oh, maybe we'll see something here. What's the... There we go. Ooh, you made a CRT shader. Hey, thank you, Muck. The interior glass is cracked. Is that what's supposed to be happening here? Because to me, it reads as just like I'm not sure what I'm seeing. Like I don't know what that is. Just a guess. He raged so hard. Dude, Doom was hard. Doom 2 was hard, man. When it comes, so you're asking about composition, lighting, and anything that can improve right away. So I would remove that, just because it's hard to understand what it is. If you can't understand it immediately, then people always point it out or point to it. Yeah, see, I thought smudges too, but it doesn't stay on the glass. It happens like out here as well. And I'm seeing the curve of the glass on the inside. So is there like a dual glass layer thing going on here? Also, does that QR code work? Did you test that out? Did anyone test that out? I have my phone here. Let's go. It might be too far away. It should work. Did you test it? This reminds you of your youth. How does it feel? Come on, QR code. So I'm not able to... Steam looks a little too fake. Oh, you talking about the coffee, Steam? What's going on here? Yeah, this one's a little difficult to read. Ooh, that's nice. It's interesting is what we normally do now for this type of stuff is you just do it in the volumetrics or actual particles. This is a nice... it's a nice look if you want to push it further, you know? Ooh, yes, with the colors too. Okay, so when we look at this view, I think the computer might be... Maybe it's okay. It feels like it's a little dark to me. You want to look at saturations. Maybe this is okay. Yeah. It's just a cylinder with Fresnel and panning noise. Yeah, I mean it's an effective look. I see the wipes now on the glass, so it's hard to read. It's hard to understand it immediately. So I think if you wanted to keep that, it's just a matter of making the smudges or scrapes read as that immediately. You're disappointed that the QR code is not a Rickroll? Oh my gosh. That would mean that the person in this scene went back in time. Like QR codes didn't even exist when computers were like this, right? Yeah, those of these keys have seen better days. You're definitely reloading a lot. Ollie, you okay, man? You all right? Are you just realizing the QR code comment? The time travel. Yeah, it says a lot, right? Not using G for grenades. So, scene-wise, I think up close, I really like this framing. Everything's a bit close to the edges, so maybe pulling the camera back just a little bit would help with this shot. But understanding where, like, getting stuff away from the sides of the frame makes it feel a little bit more comfortable. And you can do that just by pulling it back a little bit more. Oh man, that's so crazy. For how dirty this desk is, it's quite tidy. Like I would expect a few pens on the table, for example, or like this. Oh, excuse me. This Rubik's Cube looks too small to me. They were pretty big, if I remember correctly. Maybe I was just because I was little, hands, small hands. Keyboard feels a bit thin, especially on the edge here. I think nice Mortal Kombat poster on the side there. Whoa, dude, there's some total time travel going on here. Like, is that Monsters Inc.? Is that a manga up there? Is that manga? What is that? Mathematics, dude. Computing fundamentals. Man, the text goes right to the edge of that poster. That is crazy to me. Needs a lava lamp. I mean, yeah, the tough part about lava lamps is it's a point for drawing attention. You know what I mean? So if you see a lava lamp, it's got to be on, which pulls you over to look at it. City Hunter. I guess. Nice. The mouse looks a little on the sharp side. I don't remember them being that sharp. Man, there's so many things to look at in here. So that aspect to me is really cool. The keyboard, again, I feel like is really thin in areas, especially on these sides. I like the light additions on the computer here, and nice attention to detail. These pieces sticking out. I used to flick those while I was waiting for Command and Conquer to load with my nail. Dang, dude. So, yeah, I like this. There's just those things that I was talking about. Yeah, where you had to clean the ball and the mouse. Oh my gosh. So brutal. The background, like the wall, you have like a albedo only. There's too many images in here, by the way. The albedo for the wall is maybe a little too dark. And so it's really like makes it difficult to appreciate the scene. Like if we grab this, maybe I just copy this. I like the washed out look you're going for. But the wall is too dark. I don't know if you need it to be that washed out either. Also, there's some weirdness happening here on this edge. There's like some normal edge happening there as well. Oh my god, Rugrats, bro. Rugrats is my jam. Oh, that poor banana. Never eaten. Too busy with Doom. Really cool. Where's the tattoo? Nice. Nice, Muck. I would lighten up your wall a little bit in the albedo. Fix the edge here. Look at the glass on the monitor. Yeah, maybe pull the camera back a little bit and cut maybe like, let me see here. This post should be a prop breakdown and maybe like 4 images. That's it. By prop breakdown, I mean like all the props in one area, just to see like what was used to make the scene. And then maybe like a breakdown of one of the props, like the computer, for example, just to see how your UVs are, how your modeling is, how you approach texturing, those types of details. Like there's no wireframe in here either. I want to see. I'm curious. I want to know. This shader thing with the screen as well. I want to see that network. Show me the craziness. I love the fact that you've got videos in here showing some of the technical aspects. And it makes me wonder if that's something you're interested in. So, if it is, you should show that off. Very nice. Very nice. Hopefully that was helpful, Lodo. All right, Nicholas. Yo, we got Philippe as well. Let me just get this loaded in here. Okay. Hey, no problem, man. I appreciate you taking the time to post. Philippe is getting the community tag as well. Just make sure everyone is at least read in here. Very good, very good. Yes, okay. So, we got these giant statues of owls, which I think is really cool. Really cool. So, these statues are huge, and they've got like mass amounts of sand on them. I think what I would do is sculpt the statues as their own. If you're going to put sand on the top here, that might be added to the sculpt. Archimedes from Clash of Titans. Dude. Take this sand here. I would make this its own separate mesh. That's kind of pushed into the surface. So it's like 2 separate assets. And then if you got any sand like here, like this one, for example, the reason I say adding this into the mesh is just because I'm not sure how you would add that afterwards and get like a nice material transition between the two without like a lot of work. But yes, let's see what else we got going on here. There's also, the statues are quite simplified. But I think if you were to get that beacon somehow, that'd be really nice. That'd be a nice touch. Because right now, like, you've got a gap here. Just bringing that in would be really, really nice. Don't hesitate to split things off. Like, you'll be able to manage it a little better in the sculpting. If these are, like, let's say the wings are separate, and even, like, maybe these are separate from each other. You'll have a much easier time sculpting, and then you can even mirror the wings over later if you want. So being able to separate those elements out just makes controlling your sculpting a lot easier. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else we could comment on here, because it looks like this is pretty early so far. So your comment as well. For now, I'm at a stage where I'm trying to define the big shapes without going into the smaller details. So what I would like to receive is feedback on the general shapes. Right, okay. And so where it could be improved, and if something is wrong, I found a ref of a real bird, that looks a lot like the statue to try and capture the shape of the head. Keep in mind that the statue will be as big as it is in the concept. Yeah, so they're huge, right? Massive looking statues. Like literally towering, like small skyscrapers. Yeah, so I would go about separating out the elements, like I was saying. In the big scheme of things, separating out those pieces is really going to help with the blending. I would look at the structure of like, so this is looks like an owl. I would look at the structure of an owl and see how they're how the back of their head meets the rest of their body, and like they tend to have a pretty big chest, and so that beak can go straight into the chest a bit, right? And I know it's a bit of a style the way that it's done with the statue, but really kind of capturing the owl, you could go further than what you're seeing in this concept, knowing what it is. Have you ever seen an owl with no feathers? Yes, it's horrifying. Have you seen them run? It's like they pull up their dress and they little stick legs. Nightmare fuel. What's up, dude? Shout out to my brother in chat. Getting ready to start as an MA. But hey, but this is going to be cool. I would highly suggest separating these pieces. It's going to make it much easier on you to work with the larger shapes. Yeah, really nice. It's off to a good start. All right, what are we looking at here? So we got one more as well. Look at those guys just chilling. Hey, no problem. Question, dropping those points as well. Mario appreciates. Okay, this scene looks cool. Ooh, okay. I just finished this block out based on the concept art, and I would like some feedback on scale, proportions, camera position, lighting, mood before I move to the next phase. It's rendered in UE5. I'm planning to use a modular kit for this, but I'm not sure how the final shot would result in a game-ready environment and how it would differ from the concept. Okay, let's take a look here. So I'm not sure how you would make this modular, and I'm not sure you should make it modular. Being smart about reuse, definitely. So like if we were to, maybe we can break this down a bit. Let's do this. Okay, so let's is that white? Yes, it is. My God, my eyeballs. Cool. I'm gonna just do a really quick breakdown of this. So we've got. I'm just gonna grab a few colors. We've got this, which is also here, and here, and here. So those are reused, right? There's 4 of them. You only need to make that once. I think often we say modular, or we want to be modular because we are under the impression that modularity is it's the answer to being professional in that sense. Not always, but it really depends on like what you're trying to build. If you're trying to build a giant city with tons of buildings, you should probably go modular. So that way you can build very few pieces and just make a ton of buildings with it. But if you're doing this one scene, I think when we look at this, it's these pillars, right? Then you've got this primary wall back here, and that same wall could be used here. And then you've got this wall. Then I would say the only other thing is this platform with the floor and the sides here. So you can imagine this is a giant cube. Everything else is a very bespoke or unique prop that facilitates a specific goal, right? So, for example, these are the large shapes. We go in, I'm going to scale these down so we're not seeing them all that much. And then we're going to go in with another layer and look at the smaller details. So these, I hope, are the same. I imagine these are all the same prop. These should be the same prop. Then you got this. This would be its own prop. This giant thing above is its own prop. Like this setup here. I'm out of colors, guys. This setup here is its own prop. Yeah, it looks like you're doing a lot of reuse, which is really good. But I think the other thing I want to highlight is maybe like these stairs. This is its own. That just helps bridge the gap between this giant cube and the lower floor. That giant cube could be this floor as well. So there's a lot of breakdowns happening here, but of course, this is one that's the same one that's here. Then you've got that shape and this shape. That reuse that happened is also over here. So there's a lot of good reuse happening. I'm curious how many props. Is there a queue or something? There is no queue. You just post in the Stream Critiques channel, and we keep going till we hit 2-hour stream. They happen every 3 weeks. And yeah. There's also, let's see here. I mean, to me, it looks like you've got this pretty under control. And it's more about the composition, figuring out what you want to be focusing on. If we look at the, where are we at here? If we look at your concept you're going off of. So this concept, I would say, is a concept that's for an artist building a scene. You can see it's not trying to capture the mood so much as it's trying to capture all of the details that need to be present. Whereas like a mood concept would really try and push the focus. Like, what are we looking at? What's the goal that we're supposed to be looking at? So, for example, we've got your blockout, which I'll say right now, your blockout is really good. And if you're reusing your props in the way that it looks like you are, as you update the pieces, the scene will build itself. You actually don't need to do anything else. This is why I highly suggest people block out all their pieces and reuse as much as possible with the pieces they are blocking out. That way as they create a piece of the content, like you create that pillar, all 4 pillars are solved. You create the ceiling piece, that's solved, right? You do these like this shelf with all the stuff here or the screens, and both screens are solved. Like you're moving so much faster if you can like block your scene out that way. So let's figure out what the focus is supposed to be, right? I would say that it's got to be this table and like whoever is sitting there, right? So what I'd actually suggest doing is, what's up, Keith? How you doing? I would push the environment in the background to night. Make that nighttime. We're trying to get like a contrast, a separation on what's happening. And think about all the light sources you have. So right now you've got, because you're in the blockout stage, you feel like the blockouts are done. With these screens, it looks like you got a point light. I'd put like a box light in front of that. And do it in the sense of a blueprint. So that way you can control the lights for every light source that's here. That's going to help you a lot as like blocking out where your light sources are coming from. And then you can turn them off or control how strong they are. And that'll help you be able to author your scene from a lighting perspective, even in a blockout stage. Because from there you can figure out what you want the scene to be, right? So if let me see if I can. We got a bit of time because I think we've got 2 others. Yeah, we're doing okay. So if we go in and we I think I've got the right layer selected. Is this going to work? Hey, nice. No. Oh. Actually, that's part of isn't it? There we go. We'll leave it like that. So by taking that, really making it like a nighttime type of situation, that's going to be really nice because that now frames this table and the seating, right? Then from there, If it's nighttime, the only lighting that's coming in here is going to be from the light sources. I'm going to dupe this really fast and just do it this way. That way we've got something going on here. So if you've got nighttime outside, you've got all the little high-rise lights and whatnot. That allows you to actually take the scene here and push down the... What is going on? Hang on. Something is happening. Let me... Yeah, there we go. Photoshop's like, nah, man, sorry. Let me let that load up, and then we'll get back to it. But what I want to do is really focus on framing. Like, what are you looking at, right? Okay, let's copy that image. No. Okay. Cool. So we're going to dupe this layer. I'm going to run a levels on here. Push this all down. Oh, you're already doing some like... Yeah, turning it into a night scene I think is going to do a lot. You take that backdrop as well? I'm stoked, man. This is why I'm like taking the time to draw this out. Yeah, there we go. Nice. Okay. So let's say it's pretty dark out there. Does a lot. This does a lot instantly. And you push all the brightness down, right? So that what are we looking at here? Right, and then we have the original. Okay. I'm like, why did I dupe that? There we go. Let's put a layer on here. And you want to figure out, like, okay, where's the light going to be coming from? And what's the focus? The focus is probably this table. So, like, really, really pushing that. And then the glow of the screens is probably the other aspect, right? Then you got the little glow of the light here. These lights, and I guess this here. But yeah, that's going to do a ton for really like drawing the focus. All of this stuff is kind of lost. How about some lights in the buildings? Yeah, definitely. You'd want to go in and get some lights in the back there. For sure. But doing that, it allows you to really like, oh wow, focus on like what's important to you, you know? Like we can look at like this side here, and you can use a gradient to like highlight the side of the pillar. And any objects you want to pop will help with framing in the long run. So like you could do like that. Maybe even this guy here. But it does a lot. And yeah, volumetric light on the desk as well, maybe. Yeah. Definitely. It might even be worth separating out these lights so like only a few of them are on. Maybe like this group here is on. But overall, I think the scene is looking freaking stellar. Like if we combine these, you can see it's just about figuring out what you want the focus to be. Man, I'm looking forward to this one. This is going to be... That's going to be an awesome scene, dude. I don't actually have that much more to add to it. Maybe in your block out, get an average color and an average roughness just to see where all your roughness values are are at. Yeah, I always get excited, man. Okay, next up is this the surface. Hey everyone, created this material using an image, the image below as reference. The thing that bothers me the most is that the mortar and also maybe the material is a bit noisy. Unfortunately, my reference is an old photo I took, so the quality isn't the best. Thanks a lot for the feedback. Okay, so oh right, I see. I mean, honestly, so your depth that's happening here on these sides is probably just a little too deep based off of the reference. But I think it looks, Creases, hey, no problem, man. I think it looks fine, actually. It's what it is like your ambient lighting, like where stuff is in shadow. If you boost that to be a bit brighter, you fill in those shadows, it starts to look real. What I'd like this stuff, this looks really good here. To me, the surface is noisy, but I think it's kind of the nature of what we're looking at here, right? There's a little bit of like harsh transitions here where you go from a low point to a high point really quickly. Smoothing those out, I would suggest doing. If you're concerned about the noise, I would just turn the noise down, see how it feels. Experiment, go through the process of like just kind of pushing around. Yeah, it looks pretty accurate to me. Maybe toning down the strength of it could help. The displacement maybe could be lower. But yeah, I mean this looks pretty cool to me. The grout surface, like the area in the inside there, is actually very smoothed. So the little grout type stuff is really, really smooth. And it also fills in a lot in these areas. Right now you have it pretty like melted and kind of all over, but only in the grouted areas. Like with these, taking this, pushing it back, and then letting it fill in these like little pits is something that you don't have like right here. You see it right there. And then what I would actually do is run a smooth on it. There's an effect I've seen in Substance. I bet Ollie in chat could tell you pretty easily, where it softens it, but then it peaks up right at the edges, kind of like what's happening here. It's kind of like a blur on itself, if I remember correctly, so that it clamps to the edge. Maybe tiny random rotation, subtle. I mean, it's pretty non-uniform blur. Yeah, I think you're right, Ollie. I think that's what I'm thinking of. So your grout, I would actually smooth out quite a bit. That's a good way of getting some visual rest. And if you notice, like the stone is actually all relatively light, whereas I think yours, these get pretty dark. I would push those to be lighter. Don't go too dark, because it's all very similar in color. But I mean, this looks pretty good to me, honestly. Yeah, I would just fill in some of the pits on some of these, and you'll get a much more of a natural interaction between the stones and the grout in a way that the reference you linked is showing. Yeah, let's see what else we got going on here. There's some like light values that lighten in the smoother versions. Those could be added in your material. Like I see it there, but maybe it's not lighter. It looks like it needs to be almost as light as the grout. And then tone down from there. This feels more gray. And then I don't know if you want to get, what I would actually do is make this material here, and then I would actually go up here and make this material that's at the top left, or not top left, but like right here, where there's like very little grout. Because I think from there, you can blend between those using either a vertex paint or a mask, and you'll get a really nice look. These guys just chilling here. How you doing? But cool. I think that's all I would mention on this right now. Don't be afraid to try stuff. Yeah, it would look great, right? Blending between these. I think the reason that the grout looks the way that it does down here is it's more of a repairing and restoration. Yeah, watching out for this. Yeah, definitely. You got to be careful with that. But this is, yeah, it's really nice. I think I'm going to jump to the next one. We got 4 minutes, so I'm going to close it. It's not a thread, but you know what I mean. Look at this last one. Tons of images. I don't really seem to mind the image spam now because we can scroll through them really quickly. Monolith. Dude, dope name. Hey, no problem. Let's group these up. Gregor. There we go. Okay. So I'm assuming, hey, I was going to post this in my first hero prop asset tomorrow. All feedback is welcome. So this looks like this looks great. First hero prop, huh? So a lot of the scratches I'm seeing like here are very uniform. So like really toning those down and kind of keeping them to the areas where you get the most contact would probably be give you a better look. But like the chipping that we're seeing here and the little bits of damage here, this is awesome. This looks dope. Let's see what we got going on here. Yeah, so you got your high poly and your low poly. I guess this is the detail that made it really expensive, right? And same with the coil here. In the low poly, it looks like you bake it down. 24,000 triangles. I think there's some room to save in here. And getting like a more uniform curve to the top of this would help a lot, I think. Right now it feels a little hand-authored the way that that's curving. Let's see what else we got going on here. Ooh, look at this UVs. Madness. The overall presentation's really solid. Roughness, metallic. Your metallics look pretty good. Roughness is looking nice. There's some nice variety in there as well. It doesn't really look like 24K. I agree. It's rounded shapes, man. Those sneak up on you, man. I bet most of it is here. Foozle with the points. Let's go. But there's got to be ways to lower that poly count without noticing it. I think when we look at the materials, your close-ups of the materials are really nice breakdowns. I'm not sure what this material is here. It doesn't really feel like the plastic I'm expecting it to be. And same here with it. Its color is very similar to this. I mean, maybe it's because of the reference you're looking at. But it's all here. Think about it. These are really high-res cylinders, each one of these. And then you've got a curved, like, spherical, like, shape here. And then this has got a curve to it. This is curved. These are round. Like, that rounded poly count, dude, it gets crazy fast. The render looks good. Materials look pretty good, especially for a first hero prop. It's this... this feels out of place to me. I don't know if like maybe the text needs to be gold like this, or if it's like just the way it's shaped. I don't know if there's reference for really like locking this in, but a lot of the materials feel new, but then strangely old, if that makes sense. Like there's something else that could be added here. Like I feel like these would be darker. IDDKFA, hello. But yeah, hopefully that makes sense. I mean, when I look at this overall, it's a great looking asset. It's just extremely expensive for what you're getting out of it. Like, there's probably ways to get around. I mean, I think with the rounded shapes going so heavily around this way, you can probably make the sphere on the inside cheaper and no one would notice, because these are hiding the edginess of the under area. There's a lot of extra loops in here. You could probably cut those out and no one would notice that as well. There's also a ton of geo here. I would say you could probably knock off 10,000 triangles. Because even as a hero prop, I don't know, man. Even as a hero prop, it doesn't really feel like you need that amount of geometry in order to hold that fidelity. Because I was thinking maybe these were all, you kept the model for this, but it looks like you baked it out. And if you're baking out this type of strip, I would actually do a trim sheet, like a normal trim sheet, because then you could UV to it, and then I would UV the loop itself, because I'm crazy like that. That's where I would put the geometry. But I guess it's the mic. It depends what it's being used for. The texture resolution is extremely high, 4K. Even for hero props, we don't usually go that high res. UV space usage. I like your breakdowns. The breakdowns are very strong. And I like how you're showing your roughness and your metallic. UVs look relatively well packed. Nice and clean. If you could get that up to like 80, that would be amazing. UV usage at 80. I think your end result looks really good though. The sides and this top piece of the thing that stick out to me, and the material just feels a little off to me. Like it was coated to look like a metal coating, and then there's some weird aging on it. Pretty sick though. It's a really cool prop. I would maybe give it a backdrop. Right now, your background is pretty light. I'll just try something out, and then we'll get out of here. It's not gonna... There's no way it's gonna give me this. It'll be close, though. But if you were to take that, and then let's... dark green. If there was some color, that would be really nice. But what I was thinking of, I always like a nice drop shadow. And just like really spread it out and really soften it, just to give it something there. Yeah, if you put a dark green in the background, that would help. Yeah, 43 pixels per centimeter. That's pretty hardcore. But yeah, it's more about the materials and understanding the details and fidelity involved with them. And then if you need that much geometry in order to sell the look of the mic itself. Otherwise, I mean, first hero prop, this looks real nice. Real nice. All right, guys. I need to jump out of here. It's been a pleasure as always. And yeah, I look forward to the next Discord critique. I think one thing to say, I'm gonna make a calendar, and I'll make sure to get a key out, or like a code out that'll help us be able to call it either in chat, like what's the schedule, or in the Discord. And then from there, we can really utilize what, like figuring out those timings so that you guys know when critiques are happening, because every 3 weeks feels a little weird, and it can feel like, how do I know when that is? But yeah, let me know in Discord. Just message me, DM, or in general chat, tag me in critiques, whatnot. But yeah, let me know what else you would want to see on that calendar. Maybe the Empire meetup would look good on there too. All right. I'll see you guys later. Enjoy your Thursday evening and enjoy the Friday that is tomorrow. And I'll see you guys in the Discord. Here's the link if you're new. I'll see you in the Discord, and I'll see you on Sunday. We'll continue on our little scene. Okay. See you guys later. Enjoy the tunes. Peace.